A North Texas doctor is now able to talk about his time as a medic in Ukraine last year. Dr. Danny Holland is a surgeon at Methodist Dallas Medical Center. But during October of last year, he was in Ukraine providing medical treatment to those injured during the Russian invasion. Fox News' Alex Boyer spoke with a doctor about his time in the war zone. Alex.
Hi, Steve. And next week marks 1 year since Russia invaded Ukraine. And in that time, hospitals and medical centers, especially in the far eastern portion of Ukraine, have been wiped out, leaving thousands upon thousands of residents without access to health care. Well, a Dallas surgeon is among a group of dedicated doctors who are helping to fill that void. This is where Dr. Danny Holland feels most comfortable, performing orthopedic surgery at Methodist Dallas Medical Center. But in October of last year, Holland left his comfort zone for a war zone.
Manage their airway, we can put in lines, we can do whatever we need.
Joining doctors and other medical personnel in Ukraine, treating thousands of patients inside of a portable hospital.
Every patient had a story to tell.
Holland volunteered his services through Samaritan's Purse. The organization provides spiritual and physical aid to hurting people around the world.
When they made the offer, it was, for me, it was a no-brainer.
Holland flew to Poland first. There, he and the rest of the medical team were taken to Ukraine's capital city and then made the grueling journey by bus to a far eastern portion of the war-torn country.
We had to build a temporary pontoon bridge in order to even, enter the city.
The recently liberated city had been under Russian occupation for 6 months. The Ukrainians who were trapped there had no access to health care until Samaritan's Purse set up the hospital.
A lot of the patients we were seeing had frostbite from the time in the winter. They were without electricity or natural gas to heat their homes.
The hospital was set up in an abandoned 3-story building. It had a small ICU, operating room, and emergency room, along with a pharmacy.
There was so much emotion there, so much anxiety, just so much loss.
The hospital was located just 30 miles or so from the Russian border. Sometimes Holland was reminded of just how close he was to that ongoing conflict.
It was that close at times. Sometimes you could just feel the movement of the ground, which again is pretty unnerving. And then
but he focused on his mission to be of service to others. A Ukrainian medical school student gave him this sweatshirt. It means the world to him. Their Superman cape, they said, and the hugs from his patients, the medicine he needed.
That hug, I would put everything I have on the line today, and I'd walk out of this hospital and I'd go back to get that hug again because it really meant something.
And Dr. Holland has been back in Dallas for several months, but had to wait to speak publicly until that hospital could be decommissioned as to not disclose its location. Still, he tells me these months later, sometimes when he's driving into work in Dallas, he'll find himself crying, thinking about all of the stories and experiences he had while his time was there in Ukraine. And despite all of the heartache, he tells me he would go back in an instant if asked to go back again.